All right, good morning. So today what we're working on is the transition between the wall and the ceiling. And so that transition includes sort of this big bundle of wires. So on both sides of the bus, we have wire chases that are high wire chases and low wire chases that go all the way to the front and back of the bus. And the majority of them are on this side because our control center for the lights is in that cabinet. And so we have to find a way to address this and sort of dress it up without sort of making a big ugly mess up here. And so when the bus was originally a passenger bus, these bolt holes here would have been used for the overhead when people store their luggage overhead. They would have put it on a shelf that would have been about here, and there was supports that were hanging from the ceiling and then bolted into this wall with pretty good size heavy bolts here. One of the issues that we're running into is this is not perfectly vertical. And so we went out and bought some bolts. And so when we put the bolt in, it kind of shows how not vertical it is. So it turns out this is down at about a 7-degree angle. And so we had to figure out a way to remedy that, because when we put something up here to hold these wires, and what we're thinking about doing is putting up sort of a half box, so it would be like that, and it would install here. We don't want the half box to look like that, because that's how it's going to look if we just build one up and put it on. So we have to address that angle. We have to build that box, and then we thought one nice thing, rather than just having an empty box up here, would be what if we could use that to then uplight and provide additional lighting for us, uplight this whole sort of living room area. So that's another thing we're going to do, is install some fairly bright LED strips in here that will illuminate up and sort of give us that non-direct light. So that's the project we have today. We're going to go ahead and try to address this angle and get going with it. All right, so I'm not sure we showed this, but when we drill these, we put it so that the angle is at the bottom, and so when we drill through, it's actually drilling through at an angle. And so if we look down here, we can see that the screws are almost, they're cheated down towards the bottom, but if we flip it over, we see that they come out almost exactly in the middle. So that's one of the repercussions of having it, of taking care of that angle in this piece of wood. So when we put these through, you can see that they go slightly up at an angle, and then we've used the Forstner bit here so that we can countersink these heads and still get the socket around the head there to get them in and secure them. So that's how that works. Right. On a 55-year-old bus, sometimes you got to give it a little help. So on these, we're just running a thread. We're just running the threads through with just a normal tap with a little bit of oil on it. Now we're going through and just tapping all the holes, and you can see there's quite a bit of gunk. I'm not doing it real hard, just with the set of pliers, and just go back and forth. we'll get some ties. We'll get some Velcros. All right, so this is how we've utilized those bolt holes. We've taken the 7-degree pitch out of it and made it as straight as we could. And so we've used the bolt holes here and countersunk them. You can see they're inside. So what the plan is to build sort of a half box like this that would then attach to this solid piece. And this is actually going to be a little bit higher. We just mocked this up because we had to fit it up underneath the cabinets as well, and that's a little bit lower. But over here it's going to be a little bit higher, and it will screw in from the bottom to this piece of wood to keep it nice and secure. And that way, if we ever have to come in and run a new wire or service some of these wires, we'll just unbolt this and take it off, and then the wires will all be exposed just like this. So this is what we've done. This is what we're going to be working on for both sides, and working on creating some channels for these wires to ride in. Right?
I think like one of his wings was broken.
I'm going to have you do this side. So look at and Dad get it in.
All right, so we've temporarily installed it. We've gone ahead and screwed it in through the bottom, and it is very stable. So the wires are hiding in here. The next part we've got to do is back under the kitchen, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So one nice thing about having all these mounted so sturdy is if we want to do window treatments for these windows, we can bolt them up to this solid wood bottom. So that's one of the other nice features about doing it this way. So anyway, we're going to crank on that side, and then crank on the back, and hopefully finish this up. Okay, so we finished up the boxes that conceal the wire chases on both sides. So we've done this side and this side. And right now they're just natural color, and we've installed them just to make sure that they fit correctly, make sure everything is perfect before we take them back out, take them home, and paint them the same way we kind of did the ceiling and stuff. We also need them up so that we can start trying to tackle the wall. So the wall will again be planking just like the ceiling, except it'll come down and it'll have to follow the contours of our windows. And so when we did these furring strips, we made sure that we cut them really precisely to match all the curves and stuff, because we knew that they would probably show a little bit on the edge. And it looks like that's going to be the case. And so that's what we're going to tackle next, is doing the walls in the planking. So that's what we're going to go with next. All right, so it was really tedious, but we have now completed this side of the wall. The couch is mostly going to sit here, and there's going to be seats here, so a lot of this is going to be covered, but it's all done. We've got everything up. We have not yet done the caulking and all the sort of finish work inside the thing, but it's the raw wall put up. So it's all put up. We're probably going to do all of that at the same time. So just imagine a bunch of cutting and sanding and all that kind of stuff. It took us, I think, a solid 3 days. It took quite a while. So anyway, we're going to repeat the exact same process on the other side, and we'll get going on that side next. Okay, so we finished up the other side. So now this side and this side, they're both done. So the next step, it just makes a huge difference. First of all, just getting rid of all the green and seeing all the insulation and all that just makes a huge difference. Even it sounds different. Like you can hear, it sounds like an empty apartment right now. So anyway, the next step is we're going to go through and caulk all of these seams and the nail holes, fill all that stuff in, and then go with a little artist brush and paint all those lines, paint all the insides of these guys, and just kind of clean it all up so it looks more like the ceiling. So the ceiling, we've already done that too, and so that's what we'll be working on next. Alright, so we're done. The walls are finished. We've caulked and painted all the grooves. We've trimmed out the insides of the windows, which was a little bit tricky, and then we've spackled anywhere where there was voids or nail holes and things like that, and we've given it all a fresh coat of paint, and we're pretty happy with the way it turned out. So I know a lot of it will be covered because we're putting a sofa on either side, and then this will have some chairs here for the kids to sit in, but it looks great right now when it's wide open, so it even changes the echo in the room. So anyway, we're done with this project, and we're gonna head on to the next one.